RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com. Once again, please email us at RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com.
Hello, good evening. I'm K-Cee Deeva, and you're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.World. I am excited to host a special show tonight called Music and Life on RainierAvenueRadio.World. Now, this is where we highlight national and internationally acclaimed artists. Tonight, I have the pleasure of talking with Miss Liv Warfield, a phenomenal singer who performed with Prince and the New Power Generation, and whose singing style is described as alternative R&B soul with a little bit of rock and roll. In 2006, Liv's debut album, Embrace Me, gave the world a glimpse of her amazing talent, and in 2000, received a phone call from the legendary performer Prince that catapulted her career to the next level. Liv was an NAACP Image Award nominee for Outstanding New Artist in 2015 and Soul Train Award winner for Best Contemporary Jazz Performance, Soul Lifted. Stay Soul Lifted. She is in town and she's performing with the New Power Generation Hornz at Dimitriou's Jazz Alley tomorrow night and Wednesday night. Now, if you're listening and you're thinking, I might want to see that show, we're going to give away tickets, and I'm going to tell you how in just a minute. Also joining Liv tonight are a couple of members from New Power Generation Hornz. We have Marcus Anderson. We also have vocalist Saida Wright. And we have Ryan Waters, who's also part of the NPG family, joining me on Music and Life tonight. Now, if you want to win tickets, the way to do it is email us at RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com. We have a pair of tickets to give away. And all you have to do is explain why you would like to see the show. Just that simple. All right? All right. You're tuning in to RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm going to jump right on in. Welcome to my guest.
Thank you.
So excited you're here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We know you're busy rehearsing for your show, so taking time out to come join us, we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. So, Liv, I'm going to start with you. You're originally from Peoria, Illinois.
Yes.
And what some people may not know is that in addition to your amazing singing talent, you're an accomplished athlete, track star, gymnast.
Yes.
Now, I just have to ask, was that the original career path, the athletic path, and then you kind of fell into music, or did you always know that music was what you wanted to do?
Athletics was the career path. I could have probably swore to everybody I was going to the Olympics. I knew that without a doubt. But I was saying Saida. But all of that changed. You know, I always wanted to sing. I thought I was actually going to be a newscaster when I was younger. But my parents sat me down and I watched a whole bunch of, to shut me up, they put me in front of a whole bunch of Diana Ross specials. So I would watch her change clothes. I would watch her sing. Like, I just would be downstairs and like having like blankets, like thinking I had long hair. So inside, I kind of knew that's what I wanted to do, but nobody in my family knew that. I just kind of kept it a secret and hidden from everybody. And, you know, so yeah.
All right, and here you are now.
Yes, thankful.
I'm sure they are too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Now, your music career actually started, you're right next door to us in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
And you performed with local bands there, and then in 2006, you released a debut album.
Yes.
Called Embrace Me.
Yes.
And that was kind of your beginning into music, right?
It was, yeah. Embrace Me was such a cool experience because I think I was at my most vulnerable. I wasn't afraid to really like bear who I was. I'm still even now figuring out who I am, but I think that's why I entitled Embrace Me, because I was trying to still figure out who I was, unapologetically putting everything out there, from I decided to feeling lonely. I was a writer first too, you know, so I wrote a lot of my stuff. And even now, sometimes like the whole perfection of trying to get it right, where now back then I was like, I'm just gonna write it down. Yeah, he treated me like that. And yeah, I'm gonna talk about that, you know? So I love that record for that. You know, I wasn't afraid to really kind of express myself, but it was a fun record.
And apparently everyone else loved it too. So.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that. Yes.
Now, I'm going to skip ahead to 2009, when you received a phone call that literally changed your life. 2009, right? So long ago. Talk about that.
That was crazy, because I was just raw as a vocalist, just singing, you know what I mean? Just wanting to get on, wanting to sing on different people's projects. But actually Rick Cook and Marva King, I was doing a show in Atlanta somewhere, and I actually saw Marva, and I was just like, Miss Marva King. And she looked different. It was something about her that I was like, man, where is she from? She out of space or something. It was just, there was an aura about her, right? So not even knowing, she hooked up with Rick Cook and was like, Prince is looking for another background singer. And I had knew Rick, and Rick was like, well, I know this girl named Liv. And Rick called me. He was like, look, you got any videos that I could send? And I was like, first off, don't even come to me with thinking I'm about to be singing, backgrounds with Prince. Please do not send anything. So they actually end up sending the video out. And I didn't hear anything for maybe like 2 months or so. I was in Arkansas, and I got a phone call, and they were like, Prince wants to call you. And I was just like, he doesn't call from an unknown number. I was like, what? Like, that just threw me off. That really threw me off. But then for he just saying maybe a couple words.
Really?
Liv, hi, this is Prince. You want to go somewhere warm? I'm thinking like, oh. He was like, I'm going to LA. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll meet you there. And then I think I didn't get a chance, right? And I didn't get a chance to actually go, and I ended up meeting him at Paisley Park.
Oh, okay.
And then that changed my life, because Prince, he's just he shares his light. You know what I mean? He took a chance on me. He knew very well that I did not know what I was doing. I wasn't seasoned like that. Right. But I think he saw something past that I couldn't see. And yeah, he was generous with his life for sure.
Wow. Yeah, he's definitely missed.
Yeah.
Definitely missed. Still surreal.
Yeah.
Still surreal that he's not here. Now, Saida, you're a native of Portland, Oregon.
I am, yeah.
Now, did you two know each other when in your Portland days earlier on, or?
Yeah.
Transplant, but yeah.
we were introduced, not too early on, but definitely early in her time in Portland. I just heard that she needed a singer, and we had a mutual friend, Robert Thomas, and he asked me if I wanted to come and sing background for this young lady, and I was like, let me meet her first. I need to meet her and hear her music, because I'm not singing no craziness. And I heard it, we met, we had a great time, great conversation, and we clicked, it was good. Yeah. So I said, sure, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. Now, you went on time with Prince on tour as well, right?
I did. What
was that experience like?
Oh, man. Life-changing. Life-changing. Definitely affirming. I for me, it had already been a 20-year process of just music and life and living and doing things. And so, after you work for so long, you just kind of wonder, can you do this? So when you have someone like Prince come along and say, yep, you can. And you will. Wow. And you better not ever stop. Right.
I love it.
It's a blessing. So again, he did share his light and his wisdom. And he knew, he was aware. I think he's seen enough to know, what you need when you need that little push.
Right. Right. We all need that person. Right?
Yeah. Yes. And he was that. And I'm grateful.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, Marcus, you're part of NPG Hornz, the amazing horns section, the brass section of NPG. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
I don't even know where to start, except from the beginning. So I was actually I was in Reno, Nevada. And prior to that, I went to a jam session in LA and played, and I was filling in for my mentor, and he was working with a guy named Andrew Goucher, and he came up to me and he said, hey, Marcus, are you working with anyone right now? I want to send your music and your video to someone else. I can't tell you. And I was like, all right, cool, sure. I'm like, unless it's Prince, I don't really care. And that's exactly what I said in my head.
Wow.
So I go to Reno, this is Sunday, and then fast forward to Wednesday, I get a call from Andrew Goucher, and it's like, there's a number that I didn't recognize because I didn't save his number. So I look and I said, ignore, because I think I was watching Lord of the Rings or something like that. So I checked my voicemail, and it says, hey, Marcus, it's Andrew Goucher. Prince saw your video. He wants to put you in a band. And I was like, what? Are you serious? Wow. So fast forward a couple of months after that, I partnered up with my buddies Adrian Crutchfield, BK Jackson, Lynn Grissett, Phil Lassiter. It was 11-piece horn section. I'm not going to name everybody, but it was a lot of guys. There was a lot of guys, and of course, Liv was there, and like so many other people of like MPG. And then I got invited to Minnesota, and we just we didn't have any music ahead of time. It's like, what are we going to do? We're just going to go in unprepared. And we just jammed for a little bit. And you walk into Paisley Park and you just see purple.
Is it amazing?
And you smell purple. You smell lavender. It's like, I've never smelled purple before. Is this what purple smells like? So, you know, it was me, Adrian, BK. First of all, we're all nervous. I was nervous as all get out. You know, and then I remember Prince, you know, meeting him, and he was like, "How you doing, Marcus? I'm Prince." I'm like, "I know who you are," and he's telling me like, "I know who you are. I like your music," and he's like telling me songs off of my albums that he likes, and I'm like, "Wow!" So it kind of blew me away, and that was like the start of like a 4-year, you know, education. Is what I was telling Liv earlier, you know, because it wasn't like being there. I wasn't there for anything else but to get an education. You know, he found me as a solo artist, and he was teaching me, I felt like, throughout the whole process.
Wow.
You know, I feel like that was grad school for me. So yeah.
That's amazing. It's not every day you get a call from Prince or, you know, hey, he saw your video and wants you to sing with them. That's just, that's an amazing story.
Right.
Now, you know, one of the things watching New Power Generation and Liv, you all perform, it's just a powerhouse show. I mean, you know how to command the stage. You've got this big, you know, band and such. How do you coordinate all that? How many hours of practice does it take? That's got to be a lot of work going into it, because you guys are just in sync, and it's just amazing to watch.
It is a lot of time, you know. It does. Sorry. It is a lot of time, but I think we've played together for so long. I think the energy is there. To be honest with you, sometimes we're not around each other. All of us live in different places, but I think the energy is there for the most part. The vibe and we're all very in sync. You know, like, to be honest with you, you know, some of these guys I haven't seen in a while. We come back and we see each other. It's just like, bang, right into it, you know? So we definitely feed off of each other, but it does take time. I mean, before we did all this, we had a lot of rehearsal. I mean, you're like, shh. I mean, and I love it though.
Yeah.
I love having to
fun.
rehearse, you know? So it's a lot of time, but it's fun.
That's not true for all of us.
Never did.
Oh, God.
All of us didn't get all that rehearsal.
Listen, I remember
to get it together.
Listen, I remember after rehearsal, like, oh my gosh, when are we ending? I need to go to the hot tub. And I remember going to the hotel and begging them, please, can we get in the hot tub?
Yeah, I know.
I need to soak my shins. I get shin splints. So I was like, man, I need to soak my shins. Because you know, we're going dressed up and y'all going in heels, we going in dress shoes. True. You know, sliding all over the place. It's like not wearing the best supported shoes.
True.
I wanted to just soak in a hot tub after that.
But we thank you for paving the way. By the time we showed up, we could get in the hot tub anytime. So thank you.
The hot tub was a blessing.
Now, Ryan Waters, you're part of the NPG family as well. Now, you're a native of Seattle, is that right?
I'm not a native. I've been here since 2012.
Okay. Long time.
So I go, Liv and I go way back, even further than some of this. I've been, I met Liv in 2000, I think. Thank you, Saida.
She's a mic.
They call me Mama Sai.
So I moved to Seattle in 2012.
Okay.
And I moved here from Atlanta, and I just reached out to Liv and said, hey, I'm in the area. And so I started working with Liv. It just so happened that it sort of coincided with when she was starting to express to Prince that she wanted to do her own stuff, start working on her record. So I kind of got brought into this NPG world via Liv's creativity, and she brought me in as myself and our drummer at the time. She kind of brought us into the fold, and I've been on the ride ever since.
That's awesome. It's nice if you can bring people in.
It is.
You know, you get to that level where you can bring your people in. And
it really is.
People you trust and you know.
Exactly.
But I feel like Ryan is being modest. Like, Ryan has done a lot of stuff, man.
Right.
I've been around.
I played.
He's being modest.
I play guitar for Sade as well. That's my main gig.
Really? You're one of my favorite artists.
Which is kind of how I met Liv initially. She was just she was singing in karaoke club in Portland when we met.
Yes.
And I saw her do that, and I was like, look, you need to meet this person and that person. And then she took it and ran with it from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, this is RainierAvenueRadio.World. This is a brand new show called Music and Life, and this is where we give you an in-depth interview and highlight national and internationally acclaimed artists. I have the pleasure tonight to be talking with Liv Warfield and new Power Generation Hornz, NPG Hornz, vocalist Saida Wright as well, Ryan Waters. We have the whole clan here today, and it's a fun interview. I'm so honored to be able to talk to you guys. Hey, you can win tickets. They're in town because they're performing at Jazz Alley tomorrow night and Wednesday night only. And if you email us at RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com, just tell us why you want to see the show. It's just that simple. You can win tickets. All right? You just might be chosen. You never know. So, okay. So a question for all three of you. Now, you've all performed with Prince at some point on stage. Do you remember your very first performance with him where Marcus said you were nervous meeting him?
Oh, yeah.
But actually performing with him, what was that moment like, Liv? First time.
Ooh, it was at the Nokia Theater. And it was just Shelby, Jay, and I. Nokia Theater. Mm-hmm. And, at that time, Prince is you just kind of just get thrown in the fire. You got to keep up, especially with Miss Shelby J. You better keep up. So, I'm just trying to remember what we opened up with. I don't know if it was Let's Go Crazy, literally. Shelby broke out into this step, and I said, oh, it's like that? That's what we're gonna do. Here we go. It's time to get it. You got to learn quick and be on your feet. And that was such a crazy, crazy show because it was 3 nights. I think he did the regular MPG show, a rock show, and a piano show. That was the best gig ever because I was like, it was a reality check for me. Kind of like, okay, here we are. We in the situation. Once again, I said, he's throwing me out there, not knowing I don't really have experience like that, but he's taking a chance because he saw it. Yeah. So that was fun. And then I do remember we did the Jay Leno gig on TV. I had this, at that time I had hair. I don't know what I was doing, but that was a crazy, crazy gig. It was so much fun. So that was my first live show. So.
Wow.
Liv, I got to say, Liv got a crazy shoulder pop too.
Shoulder pop.
When the shoulders get going,
she's into
you better watch out.
Yeah, true.
You put an eye out with them things.
It sounds like you guys have a lot of fun. Saida?
Yes. Don't forget your first. My first time actually being able to perform with Prince was at the Arsenio Hall Takeover, Purple Takeover.
Really?
And we were with Liv, and we got a chance to do So Lifted. And I remember I had my purple dress on, honey.
Right.
And we were in a V formation.
Yeah.
And I was right on the inside corner. So if you look at all the footage, there I am with my little flower in the back. I said my photo out. I was so excited just to be on the stage, but I was like, look at me. I'm ashamed. I really did it. I mean, at the time, I wasn't, we were just Blackbird. We were with Liv, and I wasn't considered an MPG singer, but we made sure we learned that music. I mean, just in case, he called, and so giving us the opportunity to get on stage with the ladies, just singing and supporting them, which I do believe Prince really enjoyed having that full sound. Like for him, it was like, oh, I got all these voices. He was excited. So it was cool to be able to be. That was my first one, and it was amazing. And then to see pictures after, I was like, Mama, I made it.
Wow. Marcus, I have to ask you.
Oh man, I remember it was Welcome to Chicago. Yeah. Welcome to it was 3 nights, and I remember that so well because we got no sleep.
Oh,
yeah, that's all I remember about it. Like it was fun, and I remember crying at some point. Yeah, and we were well, I didn't cry from sleep. It was as musicians, we go through life and we say, man, I want like a moment to where I feel like I made it, and I just remember looking over to Adrian and BK and all of us, and then it was like we were playing pop, like dun, dun, dun. You hear those chords, da, 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 cry. Da, 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 da. It was like on cue. It set you up. And I just remember like Adrian looking at me like, are you crying? And it's like, man, we made it. And it's like, yo, get in like in the flow. Like we doing a show. And I just couldn't, it was hard for me to like get over the feeling like, yo, this is what I worked hard for all my life, because we do, a lot of like no money gigs, $50 gigs.
Sure.
And it's like you get a gig that like pays you what you're worth and then values you at the same time,
Right.
Outside of money to give you the respect. So it was like all of that. It was overwhelming. It just felt like, we stepped into the glory.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
come here.
Okay, I have to just because I gave you with the Liv situation,
Go ahead.
but the first time as an NPG singer, that was a whole different
It's
beast.
different.
And
Okay.
for me, it was Dearly Beloved, and you're behind this curtain, and you hear the crowd, and it's just like
Deafening scream.
I'm here, like yo, I'm on stage, I'm behind this curtain.
Was that Detroit or DC?
We were Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Was it?
Yep.
Oh.
That's
we were
right.
first show was Kentucky, and man, like that when you said that, I was like, no, that was that first moment of just being behind the curtain and hearing the crowd, and when they hear that Dearly Beloved and they just go wild, and you're like, I'm a part of this show.
Right.
This is happening. Yeah, so I totally feel you.
Wow. That's amazing. Ryan, last but not least.
Well, my experience is much different than these folks. Like I said, I was kind of brought in to work with Liv, and I've kind of been the band leader for Liv's band.
Okay.
But Prince would come around quite a bit. I think the first time I was ever on a stage with him would have been at City Winery in New York, which have gone down in history as some legendary gigs for many reasons.
Yes.
But he was my hero at the beginning and end for music for me. But I remember we were playing with Larry Graham, and because it was one of these shows where there was a bunch of guests, and I was already thrilled to just be standing behind Larry, who's another hero of mine. And I'm just playing, all of a sudden I hear this exceptionally funky rhythm guitar playing coming from the other side of the stage. That's not me. and I look up, and he's walking up on stage, and I was playing, and I just kind of turned my volume down and acted like I was playing and let him take over. And he kind of stood in the wings. He never really got on stage. But I was just kind of happy to just kind of know he was there, and it was a thrilling moment. Yeah.
This is so awesome just to hear someone of that magnitude. Sounds very humble. And I remember reading, you said he was like a mentor, to you and kind of pushing you. He could see things in you all that you probably didn't see in yourself. I think that's just amazing because we see these mega stars and we don't imagine what they're like. And so to be able to hear your personal stories, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing. This is great. So speaking of, we know Prince obviously is a big influencer for each of you. Anyone say growing up that you listened to that inspired you to want to sing?
For me, Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
She was I call her my first vocal coach. Because I would just annoy my whole family, and I sang every run, every inflection, anything, over and over again, every word. I would do my best to mimic Whitney. And again, it drove my family crazy, but I now understand that I was training my muscles to be able to accomplish the sounds that I heard.
Right.
And so, Whitney Houston definitely, for a very long time, was my vocal idol.
Ryan, what about you?
My vocal idol, or I play guitar.
I know, guitar idol.
Prince, that was, for many reasons when I was a kid, I very much looked at him. And as a guitar player, growing up with kind of weird, like race identity issues and all this kind of thing, and being into rock music and R&B music, he was the first cat that I kind of saw like, oh, you can literally do all of it. There are no boundaries.
Right.
And as a guitar player too, just is the stamp he put on the instrument is just, untouchable. So
Right.
yeah.
And he played like 28 instruments, right? He played a
Something
lot,
like that.
maybe more.
Never ending instruments we never heard of. He's up there. Just got them laced. We don't even know.
Marcus, what about that saxophone?
Well, believe it or not, I didn't listen to a lot of saxophone players. My influences were vocalists.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm always saying, anybody that knows me, I'm always singing.
Yes.
And it was always anyone that sung and danced.
Mhm.
So whether it was Jackie Wilson, he used to, my heart is crying. And then like, was Frankie Lyman? Oh, you need someone to set you down on, And then you have Michael Jackson, James Brown, Prince. Everybody falls to that category, and like more modern people. Like Usher, Neo, Chris Brown, anybody like that, they were like singing and dancing. I was fascinated. So anyone singing and dancing. And Dixie Chicks.
Dixie Chicks.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Liv?
Etta James.
Etta.
Like, I love the fact that she could be rough, but then have this sexiness about her. I really was inspired by Etta James. That's my first vocal I fell in love with.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing talent. Hey, if you are tuning in, you're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.World. This is a brand new show called Music and Life. Gives us a chance here to highlight national and internationally acclaimed artists. I'm K-Cee Deeva, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Liv Warfield, Saida Wright, Marcus Anderson, Brian Waters. Liv is in town with NPG Hornz, and they are at Jazz Alley tomorrow night and Wednesday night, and I'm excited to see them. And we're going to give you a chance to see them as well. All you have to do is email us at RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com and tell us why you want to see the show, and you just might be chosen to receive some tickets. So if you're just tuning in, just kind of some background. Liv started out in Peoria, Illinois, then Portland, track star, gymnast, and acclaimed singer now, obviously. And she, we're going back. We're going to talk a little bit about your sophomore album, as well, which has my favorite song.
Okay.
Why Do I?
Okay.
Love that song and the video.
Okay, awesome. Yes.
The video.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. If you come back, we're going to take a quick break. RainierAvenueRadio.World.
Time for a Rainier Avenue Radio News Update. I'm Daniel Bellis.
Seattle's citywide plastic utensil ban, which was passed in 2008, finally went into effect July 1st, meaning restaurants will no longer be able to provide traditional plastic utensils or straws. It's something Kate Melgiz of Greenpeace believes will cut down on the high number of plastics currently being found in the ocean directly from single-use plastics.
Taking a stand on plastic pollution and really setting the tone for what needs to happen, which is a ban of all single-use plastic products.
Seattle businesses will need to switch to recyclable materials such as durable paper or compostable plastic for all their one-time use items, such as plastic forks, spoons, knives, and cocktail picks. Seattle Public Utilities actually gave businesses exemptions every year since 2008 based on the affordability of alternatives, something Duke Moskrip, founder and CEO of Duke's Seafood and Chowder, knew all too well when his business started using compostable plastics 3 years ago.
When they started out, they were 30 to 40% more expensive than petroleum-based products. Well, now they're about 10%.
But the challenge is expected to hit the smaller mom-and-pop restaurants harder, which many have either decided to stop handing out utensils for to-go orders altogether or use the city's grace period, during which the city plans to educate all restaurants. But when that grace period is over, any restaurant that hands out a petroleum-based plastic fork or straw could see a $250 fine.
Daniel Bellis, Rainier Avenue Radio News.
Hey, I'm Jalal Wilson. Check out my show, The Single Father Project, on RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm a single father raising my 4 children, trying to change my life in the process. My goal is to inspire other parents to do more, become more, and have fun along the way. I would love for you to check out my show, Single Father Project, on RainierAvenueRadio.World.
You're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm Granville Emerson, along with my partner, Ronald Pepe Bean, and we host the show Lidline Sports, RainierAvenueRadio.World, where we talk about football, basketball, local sports, national sports, Seahawks,
UW,
Seattle U Redhawks,
Garfield Bulldogs.
all that and more right here on Lidline Sports on RainierAvenueRadio.World.
Karen Z with RainierAvenueRadio.World, and we want to hear from you. Our goal is to amplify and share the diverse voices of Southeast Seattle residents. Do you know of an engaged community member who should be featured in a community spotlight? Tell us about them. Do you know of an upcoming family-friendly, educational, or cultural event coming up? Tell us about it. If you have news to share, contact us by emailing RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com. Once again, please email us at RainierAvenueRadio.World@gmail.com.
All right. You're listening to RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm K-Cee Deeva. Tuning in. It's a brand new show on RainierAvenueRadio.World where we go in depth. We bring you in-depth interviews with national and internationally acclaimed artists. I have the pleasure of interviewing Miss Liv Warfield and members of New Power Generation Hornz. They're in town at Jazz Alley tomorrow night and Wednesday night. And if you aren't too familiar with them or you're just tuning in, they've all worked with His Purple Royalness Prince. Were discovered by him, and they're giving us a glimpse of that experience and what it was like working with him. So before we went to the break, Liv kind of briefly started talking about your sophomore album. So you had your debut album in 2006, and in 2014, you released The Unexpected.
Yes.
And that was actually executive produced by Prince.
It was.
Talk a little bit about that experience.
That was pretty amazing. Like, when I went to Prince, I was like, I really want to do a record. It took a lot of convincing, though.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like some people think it was like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, I had to, like, I think he's kind of like testing me to kind of see, okay, like, what you got?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I think we did Why Do You Lie was the first song. And did we play that? Did I give that to him? I'm trying to remember.
I think so.
I actually gave it to him, and he was like, all right, it's cool.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out. See how the people like it. And then I got a call the next day, and he was like, all right, we'll do the next record. I'll help you with the record. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Because I think he knew then, like, I think he was just testing me, always testing me. Because I always had to try to show and prove what else I had. So he was like, so what else are you writing? So I want to see what else you're writing. So I think he actually asked me, he said, what's the direction you want to go? And I said, I love blaxploitation. I love Cleopatra Jones. Like, in my mind, I was thinking, like, in my way of feeling, like, how would I express myself if I was actually the person to do the scoring for this movie? What would it be like? And he was like, all right. So then he came with you guys. NPG Hornz did crazy arrangement of the song called Your Show on your record. Oh my God.
I remember that. Oh my gosh. It was
like,
11 horns. He was on
God.
the piano, and it was 11 horns like
Please
surrounding.
tell me, because I don't know this.
Oh, you don't know this? Oh man.
I
So
wasn't there.
So he was like, so there's a part, and it's this. And he played it, and he said, I want you guys to do this, and you take it from there. So he played it, and then like all of us kind of went into like this thing, and we went, and it's like that's it.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it was like a song, it's your show. I mean, if you don't know it, you got to go listen to it. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful song. Yeah.
So and that's the thing, is we haven't never really performed that. We've never performed it.
Never have.
I'm working on that. Anyway, so we did that. That was a really cool project. And then when I told him, I think I was in the car with the manager at the time, and I was like, well, what do I want to call this record? And I was like, man, I want to be The Unexpected, because there's so many things you'd be on the record like, what? Okay. And then he called me up. I think when I told the name of the record, he was like, do you have anything written for that yet? I was like, no. He was like, all right, give me a day. He called me on the phone. I think Josh called me up. Josh was like, Liv, Prince wants you to hear something, right? And you could just hear, Prince don't say nothing. You just hear him say, press play or whatever. And I heard it in the back, and that's when he was like, I just was shocked. I lost it because it was Third Eye Girl playing their version, which is called Wow. And Prince was like, well, you want to take that and redo it? I was like, I'm not touching that. Ain't no way I'm touching that song. And then he was like, okay, cool. So you come up with your own. You know what I mean? Because how Third Eye Girl, how they play Wow, we were like, well, let's just have our rebuttal to what that's going to sound like. So yeah, I mean, like the whole experience of creating that record, he let me do it on my own. He let the band do it on our own. You know what I mean? He asked me if I wanted to do it Paisley. I was like, no shade, but I want to be able to keep the sound and keep it as authentic as I possibly could with band members who I've been with for years, you know? So yeah.
Because you went back to Portland.
I did.
Record that, right? Wow.
Yep. Yeah. With amazing musicians who helped to write that record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were songs that I've had years before, and then we actually put that together. It was just crazy. And it was an amazing project. Phil Lassiter wrote all the horn parts for that album. It was a crazy experience, but beautiful at the same time. Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah.
Those are the best ones.
Yes.
I like that title.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Now, Marcus and Saida, you both have done some solo stuff here as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Saida, talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you've done.
Actually, I've released 2 singles. The first was called What Happened to Love, and that was on the Be Speak Love project with Ronnie Wright. And that was a collaborative effort with a bunch of actually it was a compilation of a lot of Portland artists. But recently I just released another single because I'll be fronting a band called Mother's Favorite Child. And that single is called Tell. So that is out currently.
Okay.
So feel free to go to any digital outlet and get that song. Add it to your playlist. Yes. It is called Tell with Mother's Favorite Child featuring Saida Wright. So that's what I'm working on. Also, I'm personally working on my self-titled EP. It's called Saida. And so that single will be out this year.
All right.
Yes.
It's coming out.
Speak it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Marcus?
Yeah, I've worked on a good bit of music in the past few years. I released 10 albums since 2005.
10 albums.
And it's hard to believe. Like I had to go back and count, and I'm trying to figure out when did I do this, because I don't know. I think I just got on a path of like just releasing albums, and I'm not really trying to, time it out. So 2 years. I think like I was released like 2 to maybe like 3 at like one period. I kind of got like on the Prince rant, and like he would release, Crystal Ball, it had 3 albums, Emancipation. It was like several records and albums. Because I'm not on a record label, and I have no restrictions. So it's like whenever I felt like I needed to, I just did. Like my team would say, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I feel like I need to release music. Now I'm a little bit more cautious and not as loose with money with spending and just putting out music. Because you got a plan, but it's like I just want to release music, So I'm working on something new right now.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, we'll look for that.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Lots of stuff coming out. So now, is there obviously there's a difference. Is it more challenging to do a solo, your solo thing versus say have you guys come together, as a band? Saida, what do you think?
I think it can be a little more challenging, just because when you have the support of other people around you and it's this collaborative thing, I think it's a little easier at least to lean on the people around you. But once it's your thing and you're in the front and you're at the helm, it's a lot more responsibility. And so and you also you take a chance every time you release your art, every time you put something that you've created in front of other people. You don't know how they're going to react or receive it. And so there's always that pressure. Sure. But I think you do join the bands to see and experience so that it can feed into the next thing. Because, the blessing is that it was a band full of solo artists,
Right.
right? So there's solo artists that come together to do this collaborative thing and make magic. And you're not expected to just stay there. You're expected to go out and branch out and do something great and build your own art and learn, glean from each other, you know, and then go on and showcase what you do. Because everyone is so different.
Yeah.
And everyone brings that special element to the pot. And, you know, but, you know, my sausage is fine on its own. But with your shrimp, it make good gumbo, you know? I'm just saying, you know,
it's true.
You got to be you. And you have to have that freedom to do that. But yeah, I think, I don't know if it's harder. They're just different and they feed each other. And they're both necessary.
Ryan, what do you think as far as from a guitarist perspective?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of the same sentiments. I've done a lot of records, and any of us are still doing this as grown-ups, and you know have found a way to make a living out of playing music. You have to be creative, and you have to, and you also have to be collaborative. You know, at the same time, and I think this situation is it's a nice balance of all of those. Yeah.
Speaking of collaborative, that's a great segue into, you know, just kind of doing some reading. Marcus, you've worked with Sheila E., one of my favorite artists as well. Stevie Wonder, Liv, Al Green, B.B. King, The Ritz, Saida, CeCe Winans, like Layla Hathaway. List. I mean, that's just I'm grazing the surface. You guys have worked with a lot of big names. Is there anyone, say, nowadays artists, some of the you know, nowadays artists coming up and coming that you'd want to work with that you haven't yet? Anyone stand out to you? Or you listen to on your iPod, smartphone?
Yeah. Oh, Luke James.
I would love
James,
to
yes.
sing with Luke at some point.
Yes.
You're listening, Luke. Luke, remember me?
Yes.
What about you, Marcus? Anyone you want to play with?
Yeah, her. I want to work with her.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying like her people. If you're listening, there's an artist named Her. It's H.E.R.
Right.
Her. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is.
And if I can, you know, still Dixie Chicks. You know,
Yes.
Dixie Chicks.
Now, Liv, I know you said that you write your own music. What about the rest of you? Do you write your own music as well?
Yes, I do.
And in listening to Why Do You Lie, which is again my favorite song off the Unexpected album, it sounds like you know, it's one of those songs that everyone can relate to. Yes. And so I always like to ask artists, you know, do you tell very personal stories? It sounds like things that might have happened.
See, I get in trouble because I ride the line. I ride the line.
Tell the truth, Shane.
Because I mean, I would say there's 70% truth, and a lot of it is other people's experience that I see. Homegirls I talk to on the phone, that kind of thing. So it's all a nice little gumbo of experiences.
I like that. All right. Hey, if you're just tuning in, this is RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm K-Cee Deeva, and this is Music and Life, a new show here where we get to go in depth and spend a nice chunk of time with national and internationally acclaimed artists such as Liv Warfield and members of NPG Hornz who are here with us tonight. They're also in town tomorrow and Wednesday night, and they're playing at Jazz Alley. Show starts at 7:30, and if you would like to win tickets, all you have to do is email us, RainierAvenueRadio.World @gmail.com, and explain why you would like to see the show. There's so many reasons why. You would like, why would you not want to see the show?
Yes, I know y'all need to come see this show.
Agreed.
Come on here.
Come on, check it out.
Come on.
Yeah.
Any favorite venues that you have, either locally or around the world you've been to, anywhere you like to play that you haven't?
I want to play. I really want to play the Warfield Theater. I know.
Yeah.
But I want to play that room, and I also would love to play Montreux Jazz again. I know it's on the other side of the pond, but definitely would love to do those again. So
for me, Lugiano
yeah,
Festival was fabulous. Yes. We had a great time, and yeah, that was awesome. Also, North Sea
Yes.
Jazz Festival is
Mhm.
always
Yes.
a favorite.
Yeah, that's
The
a good
crowd
one.
is
That was
amazing.
fun.
Amazing. Yes.
Oh, fun
Any
times.
funny experiences, tour experiences, you can think of favorite memories that you're willing to share?
We got enough time. What time is it?
I know, right? It's a
Um,
lot.
It's a lot. That's so hard to
narrow one.
because we have so much fun with each other.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's hard to narrow down one.
Mhm.
I know there'll be one before this whole little mini tour is done. I honestly, it's hard for me to. I'm sorry, I
You-
can't.
I know you probably
got to.
remember the. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Which one? Yeah, please tell me.
You come with it.
You remember the one we did when we were Montreal Jazz Fest? We were in the room where it had all the equipment, and we did the roast.
Oh Lord,
And we were
that's right.
The roast.
we were going around. We were roasting everybody like
Please
in the
tell this
band,
story,
and
yes.
like we were roasting like Larry Graham and like Prince walked in. I didn't touch that. Like
Yeah.
we kind of left that alone.
No one would.
We were
We
like.
showed.
That, like we were just going around just roasting people, and it was so funny. It was only like a room of like 30 of us, but it was the best time ever. I'm not gonna say what we were saying,
Yeah,
but it was comedic relief.
it was.
Yeah.
And we were all participants, equal,
Everybody,
and we
everybody
just
grabbed
had
a
a
mic.
good time. You know, I do remember Prince walking in. I remember BK being like, "What should I do?" And I'm just like, "Look, I don't know. That's on you. You still gotta play. We still got shows to do. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Right.
But we weren't about to touch. Nah,
Right.
we had so much fun.
Oh my god.
We always, and even when like he, just to bring him up again, he loved to have fun like that.
Did he?
Oh man, like that's one of the things. Like it was work, but it was a lot of play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had such a good time. It's always been a family environment. And even it's kind of like the extension from him to this. It's always been about family. It is truly always been about that, you know, and he's taught us that, you know, to be there for each other. We all get mad at each other.
Right.
We all
Yeah,
we can
those
go
moments.
there.
Yeah,
But he had a way about keeping us together in that way, you know. So
And that's interesting to hear because I just assumed he was very serious.
Oh,
you
no.
know, I just from interviews and
no, he's a lot of fun. Jokes.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for the joke.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah, I'm not ready. No, like he would bust out and he would crack on anybody. Like,
Anybody.
and you would you'd look around like, I'm gonna laugh. This is funny.
Yeah.
You know, but you're like, should I laugh?
Yeah.
And you just somewhere in the corner just cracking up. I lived.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was really good. I fell out. I'm not gonna say what he said, but it was funny. Yes.
Yeah.
It was funny. But my two favorite
Awesome.
memories, one was karaoke. I don't really care for karaoke because, you know, people just hate when I sing karaoke, so I don't sing karaoke. But it was always fun with the NPG Hornz. Like when we came in and we were nervous and it was like, this is a big group of, you know, family that, you know, we're just kind of being inserted into. But they were so loving, so welcoming. And when I saw the cut up at karaoke, I was like, oh yeah, these are brothers for life. Like, I understand now why they're so close.
Right.
We had a ball. And my other really standout moment was an after party in Prince's suite. And it was at the ST. No, we were in LA, and he was getting interviewed for Essence, and but we did this big sing along in his suite, and it was the A&R people and artists there, and just all kinds of cool people, and we were there, and just, you know, a friend at the piano playing, and we're doing oldie songs and just having a great time, just singing, and I'm like, yo, Marsha Ambrosius is singing,
Yeah.
like we just gonna do it real quick.
Yeah.
Like it was that kind of moment where it's like people I would never think I would just be sitting around singing with. I'm singing with them, and so it was. You know, Prince came out and I was like, wow, thank you so much for having us. Like I can't believe this is happening. And his response was, well, this is how it used to be before they taught us how to treat each other. And so that to me stood out because it was like, wow, this is normal.
It is.
You know, we are all musicians in this room, and yes, society separates us, you know, and says, well, you know, I got money, I'm a lead, I'm a celebrity, so I'm over here.
Right.
But in that space, it didn't matter what your title was, it didn't matter who you were or what you were doing. We were all musicians, and we were just having a good time enjoying music and enjoying one another. And that was, to me, it epitomized who he was. Like, I'm a musician. I respect musicians. we make real music.
Yeah.
And I respect you if you make real music,
Yeah.
period.
Like,
I don't think I'm better than you.
Right.
We do this together. And he always said, thank you.
yeah.
That blew my mind away. Thank you for being here. And I said, excuse me, thank me. What do you mean? You let me come. But in his mind, no, I asked you, could you come? And you said yes.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like that humbleness and gratitude, like that to me was like, oh, he's on another level. This is how you function. There was an example. This is how you do this. So.
Oh, that's great stories. Great stories. If you're just tuning in and you hear us talking about Prince, you're wondering, what are we talking about? Who we're talking to? This is RainierAvenueRadio.World. I'm K-Cee Deeva, and I have the pleasure of talking to Liv Warfield, Marcus Anderson, Ryan Waters, Saida Wright. Liv is in town with NPG Hornz, and they're at Jazz Alley tomorrow and Wednesday. They're sitting down, taking time out of their busy schedule to chat with us, and it's just so awesome to get to, to talk to artists and get to know you on a personal level. You're great storytellers.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Make it a lot of fun. So now, obviously, music is a big part of all your lives. What do you do? Anything you like to do when you're not working?
I'm at home with my husband, chilling.
Chilling.
Yes, that's about it, to be honest with you, and working. And so Ryan and I we actually perform with Nancy Wilson of Heart. That's another side project that we're with, a rock and roll project. So it's called Road Case Royale. So that keeps us busy.
It does.
So it keeps us busy. So yeah, we'll be doing that. So.
All right. And Nancy Wilson, she's here.
She's
right?
from Seattle.
She's from Seattle.
Yeah.
She's not here. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Saida?
Being a mom and just learning. I like to sit around and learn. I like to sew. Just writing, and that's pretty much it. Oh, vocal coaching. That's vocal coaching. Yeah. Takes up most of my time.
Right.
My wife and I have a little art gallery down in Pioneer Square called Martyr Sauce. My wife, Tarika Waters, is she's establishing herself pretty solidly here in Seattle.
Okay.
So when I'm home, a lot of my creative attention goes to her and our gallery, and we have a couple kids as well, 13 and 16. So chasing them around, and it keeps me busy.
All right, Marcus.
Yeah, same here. I'm a dad of 2, 8 and 10, so they keep me busy. Summertime is always fun. So working shows or church or cycling, I let her ride my bike. There's a bike trail right behind my house. So,
really?
Yeah, I just coast down the hill and go. I do. I go for about maybe 10, 15 miles, depending, how I feel that day. But, very simple life. Not a whole lot, yeah.
What do you kids think of your career? They're probably bragging you a lot, right?
Yeah, it was definitely some bragging rights at the school.
I bet.
My dad's when famous. You mention Prince to anybody, that just all the eyes perk up. So I'm sure he used that a couple times. He's proud, definitely proud, and seeing what I'm doing, and a lot of sacrifices just to do music along the way.
Oh, sure.
And so, I think he sees how that sacrifice has paid off in a lot of ways, and how it's still paying off. I'm still working towards my dreams, and he's a aspiring little musician.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's working on
it.
Nice.
Now, so what can your fans expect to see tomorrow night and Wednesday?
Bring the towels to dab off the sweat. It's just gonna be a really live, energetic show. I think that's the cool thing about not kind of knowing what we bring. I know it's intense every time. So if we coming off of the energy of Prince, best believe we come with the energy to entertain and to move people. It's always real music by real musicians with us. So it's going to be exciting. You definitely don't want to miss this one. Not tomorrow, not on Wednesday. Right?
Tuesday.
2 nights.
2 nights.
2 opportunities.
2 nights, right.
I work that body.
Right. Bring the sprays, bring anything, bring the oils. Bring it all.
Wear your comfy shoes.
Wear comfy shoes.
Right.
Wear dancing shoes.
And I do have to, also mention the other musicians because they're not here to represent too, but those guys are incredible. Incredible. Uriah Duffy, Dame drummer, Lynn Grissett, Keith Anderson, Joey Rayfield, Lance. I mean, we've got amazing set of musicians on that stage. All of us are soloists. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for them to show you what they got because these boys is bad. So
all right. Now, how many is it? Including
I know.
you,
I'm like, did I get it right? Did I get them all? Did I get them all? Oh, yeah, my man Christian. And red. See, look, I'm missing folks. There's so many of us. It's like what, 12? There's like 12 of us, I think. And the list goes on. But we're a big group.
Yeah.
We're a big group. You see, we like to have fun.
I see that.
But yeah,
the energy.
Energy.
Those listening, if you could be in the room, the energy is so fun.
Yes, and I'm so happy about that.
Thank you. Great. Well, it's almost that time. I hate to say goodbye. This has been so much fun.
I know.
But you're on tour.
Yes.
Where do you leave after Seattle? Where you go?
We'll be going to Oakland, California.
Oh, okay.
And then Los Angeles, me and Ryan and Nancy Wilson, we're going to be doing an acoustic show at the Peppermint Club.
Oh,
and
nice.
We might be adding, keep your eyes out because we might be adding like a couple more dates on the West Coast, like San Francisco.
Oh, right.
We are doing Portland. I know. Don't look. She keep me together. My sister keep me together. We're doing 3 nights at the Jack London in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So 13th, 14th, and 15th. Right.
Okay.
I know. Beat me up. I'm so bad. But yeah. So we're excited about it. We're really excited. So thank you for having us.
And thank you so much. Hey, you've been listening to RainierAvenueRadio.World. This is Music and Life. We're doing an in-depth interview with Liv Warfield, an amazing singer who performed with Prince and New Power Generation. We're also talking with Saida Wright, Ryan Waters, Marcus Anderson. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Excited to see the show. Very excited to see the show. And tomorrow night, Jazz Alley, Dimitriou's Jazz Alley, 7:30 p.m. Also on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And if you want to win tickets, last chance, RainierAvenueRadio.World at gmail.com. Explain to us why you would like to see the show, and you just might win yourself a pair of tickets. All right? So thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you to my guest. Thank you, Station Manager Tony B, KZ Zamet, James for engineering tonight. I'm K-Cee Deeva. Have a great night. RainierAvenueRadio.World, Music and Life.
All right.
Time for a Rainier Avenue Radio News Update. I'm Daniel Bellis.
The Freedom Foundation suing the City of Seattle and the executive director of the nonprofit Low Income Housing Institute, Sharon Lee, alleging the city broke its own codes of not completing appropriate community outreach, not performing an environmental review, and breaking an 05 ordinance that limits the number of transitional encampments to just 3, regarding Mayor Jenny Durkin's approval of a permit for a new tiny house homeless encampment in South Lake Union at 8th and Aloha, which will be the city's 8th encampment overall.
Our initial reaction, of course, was surprise because we're trying to do all we can to house people who are really vulnerable.
The attorney for the Freedom Foundation, Dick Stevens, says the city neglected to establish a community advisory committee before conducting public meetings last week and has been asking for records that show legal reasons that show exemptions to city law.
Because the process was not open.
Lee claimed Stevens' expectation for an advisory committee this week was unrealistic, claiming the meeting had to be done first to establish